Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Nic Cage Fight podcast, where we regularly cut class to get super high and watch Nic Cage films. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, joined as always by Rich and Ryan. How are we, folks?
You're describing my college experience almost perfectly, because I remember cutting class to watch The Weatherman.
That's worth cutting for.
I saved Brooke Shields from drowning, but I blew the entire reward money hiring Van Halen for my birthday.
I love the idea that there's a set amount of money you're given for saving a famous person from drowning. It seems like a decent opportunity for a cottage industry. We are here, of course, especially the one actor is like missing in California right now. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but yeah, some famous dude just got lost and I think is still missing.
I don't know who that is.
Julian Sands, apparently.
He looks really familiar, but I just skimmed his filmography and didn't see anything I immediately recognized.
Wait, who is it?
Yo, it's the guy from Warlock and Arachnophobia.
There you
I know
go.
that man.
Yeah, is he still missing? As of the last I saw, he was still missing.
Nah, they found him. They found him like 24 hours ago.
Oh, good. Glad he made it home safe. We're here, of course, to continue our breakdown of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And where we last left our cast, poor Brad had just gotten fired from All American Burger for cussing out a real uppity customer.
Also, the guy who disappeared has a Nic Cage connection. He was in Leaving Las Vegas.
Oh, shit. Well,
Yeah, just wanted to throw that out there.
Glad he got home safe.
Oh, he also plays fucking Byron Shelley in the Ken Burns, or wrong Ken, different Ken. Some Ken, he did a gothic movie about the writing of Frankenstein. That's pretty good.
He was in Ocean's 13.
Ken Russell, that's the man I was thinking of.
Which, again, is a gambling movie, so I enjoy it.
Who was he in Ocean's 13?
He was Greco, the guy who made the...
thought so. Okay.
Yeah. He was the guy who made the security system that couldn't be hacked, and then they hacked it through Earthquake.
No, they hacked it through sending what's his name in there with
with
fake cell phone thing.
Right, well, still through Earthquake. The Earthquake had to happen.
Yeah, I can't remember why. It's fine. It's a fine gambling movie. Go ahead and watch it. It's a fun time. Meanwhile, we get actually, before we go into the dream sequence, Ryan, you learned an interesting tidbit about this film and about how it could have gone in a very different direction, didn't you?
In a more perfect timeline, this would have been directed by David Lynch. Cameron Crowe apparently approached him to direct this film shortly after he turned down directing Return of the Jedi.
Ooh, yeah. This would have been a very different film.
It would have been about the evil that men do, as opposed to just high school.
Yeah. I honestly, I would obviously watch the Lynch version of this film, but it wouldn't be the same thing. It'd be very, very different.
It's weird though. He has done at least one like straight down the middle drama before. The Straight Story is a very not Lynch movie that Lynch did direct.
Okay.
I'm just picturing this movie with like Spicoli eating a planet.
Yeah,
I could see that happening. Speaking of Spicoli, he actually comes up in the scene right after Brad gets fired. He is having a dream where he has just won a major surfing competition, and he's being interviewed, and he's being very Jeff Spicoli. And this is where we get the F slur when the interviewer asks him what about all of these other famous surfers, naming what I'm assuming were famous surfers at the time. And Jeff's response is just to call him the F slur, and that's why they didn't win. His little brother tries to wake him up at this point because he's late for school. Jeff throws like a pillow at him, and then we cut to a pep rally. And it's at this point, after Brad's gotten fired, he is rapidly retreated on some of his other more confident ideas and plans. So it looks like he is second guessing breaking up with his girlfriend. Unfortunately, she breaks up with him with almost the exact same speech he was going to give her. Not going great for Bradley right now. Next up are Rat and Mike again, which at this point in the film, I was really enjoying their dynamics still. And Mike is giving Rat like his version of the dentist system, basically. A 5-point plan for how to treat women to properly woo them. it's all nonsensical, but it is entertaining to listen to Mike give this rundown.
Part of the rundown I find pretty funny is the play side 1 of Led Zeppelin 4, which is like the least sexy Led Zeppelin side. He doesn't even play the right one when he gets in the car either. It's Physical Graffiti side, or disc 1 side 2, I think. Track 3, Kashmir.
There you go. And sure enough, in the very next scene, Rat is taking Stacy out in his car. He's trying to implement some of Mike's strategy, which was to find out what the woman wants to eat and then order for her, which I don't know if this was ever good advice, but it does not hold up nowadays. Do not try that. Unfortunately for Rat, disaster strikes. It seems like he forgot his wallet. He excuses himself from the table and calls Mike to explain what happened and ask him to bring his wallet to him. It's a short scene, but they try and like ham up the tension with it, because like the waitress seems kind of impatient with him.
I love that waitress. She is absolutely not having a table of just fucking high schoolers.
Also, one of my favorite things in here is a part of his dentist system was you order the food for the girl, so he just says she'll have the bratwurst.
Oh, no, it was not. It was not worse.
Oh, it was not worse. And for you, sir, the same.
It was the same for the drink too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and also that Led Zeppelin joke is very, very funny. I don't know why he suggests Led Zeppelin 4 that starts with fucking like, doesn't it start with like Black Dog or something?
Yeah, it starts with Black Dog, and then I think it's Whole Lotta Love. I don't remember.
It's not a very. It's not a very horny album.
I mean, like the second half's got all that cool kind of acoustic stuff where they're singing about hobbits and shit.
Like, am I just thinking that he just is like, oh, just play Stairway to Heaven and you're in, but it's like not till the 4th track is side 1.
So the scene cuts to clearly the end of the meal. They have a bunch of plates with mostly eaten food on it. And the waitress puts down the bill, and Rat is still trying to buy time. He's like, should we get some more soda? The waitress is like, fucking all right. But Mike just shows up. Credit to Mike. He does show up and brings his wallet. It's the thinnest excuse ever. Is just like walks into the restaurant. He's like, oh, Rat. Oh, I found your wallet. Did you want that? And he's like, oh, yes, that's perfect. Thanks. I needed that for right now.
Yeah, and this is kind of the first part that shows Mike being kind of like a piece of shit, because like his best friend calls him to be like, I lost my wallet. I know where it is. Please don't get to bring it to me. And he's like, I don't know, Rat. I'm real busy. He's fucking eating cereal, like watching cartoons.
To be fair, that does qualify as being busy, in my opinion. But if it's your best friend, you gotta fucking pause and go. Well, I mean, I guess they weren't streaming at the time.
And also, does this dude have an unlimited amount of money? Because his answer to, oh, I don't have any money, is to order more things.
I mean, he works his ass off. This is the first social thing we see Rat doing.
Yeah,
everything
true.
else we see him doing is fucking working, really. So
there were dudes like this in my high school where they would just be like, they clearly have a lot of money because they're constantly working their side job, but you never see them do anything or buy anything nice for themselves. You assume that they're like saving up for a car or some shit.
Yeah,
right. No, it played out realistically enough for me. I was fine with that. But at any rate, they Rat successfully pays for the meal, and he takes Stacy home. And Stacy invites him inside, and she's like, I'm gonna change. Gets Rat to help unzip her dress, indicates that her parents aren't home, that like Brad's out working. Oh, I'm sorry. There is one really funny thing, because the scene where they pull up to the house, she was like, that was a really nice date. I'm sorry somebody broke into your car and stole your tape deck, and you can see one of the windows is fucking shattered.
Stole his Zeppelin tapes too.
Yeah. that's why they rode home in silence. But at this point, Stacy is in like just a robe, and Rat is trying to play it cool. This part kind of made me laugh a little bit. They're like, what should we do? And she's like, you want to look at like baby pictures? It's like, fucking no, not really, but Rat's down. He's fine with it. But Stacy is trying to take things to the next level. They kiss, and as it starts to get a little bit more serious, Rat immediately ducks out. He's like, you know what, that car is my sister's car, and she gets really freaked out if she'll really freak out if I don't get it home by 11. And Stacy's like, oh, do you want to call her? And he's like, nah, I really gotta go. And so he just ducks out. Then we cut to Stacy and Linda doing weird like blue face masks and talking about Rat not rising to the occasion, and Stacy taking this as him not being interested in her. After this, we get a great scene of Jeff cruising around very recklessly in Charles' fancy car with Charles' younger brother. They are drinking and smoking while they're driving around, fucking sideswiping vehicles and shit.
Talking about the newest Playboy, high school kid shit.
Yeah. And of course, it ends with Jeff wrecking the car. He takes a turn, spins out, plows through like a bunch of construction shit on the side of a strip of stores, and smashes into a pile of cinder blocks.
A shout out to the beer they're drinking. It's Hamm's, my favorite cheap beer. Hamm's does not get enough respect in like movies and TV and shit. It's always like Narragansett Bay or PBR for the cheap beer for dudes like that. But
see, I'm a fan of Lion's Head when it comes to cheap beer.
You can't fucking get that shit anymore.
I know, it's really sad.
I haven't seen a 24-pack of Lion's Head in months. They just disappeared off the face of the earth.
It had that puzzle on it. Like, it's great.
It used to average like fucking 50 cents a can.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, like $12 for a 24-pack. It rolled.
Huh. I have to keep an eye out if it ever makes a comeback. But this was pretty funny when they crash. Jeff is like, dude, I can fix this. My dad is an amazing TV repairman. He has the best toolkit. I can fix this. And the dude's like, Charles' younger brother is like, you can't fix this. And Charles is going to kill both of us.
Like, your tools is not help. You have destroyed the front of this car.
Well, he says he's going to kill us. And then he says he's going to shit when he sees it. Well, which way is he going to do? Is he going to shit or is he going to kill us? He's going to shit and then he's going to kill us. Yeah. I think this is also the first scene we hear Spicoli's theme, which is a Jimmy Buffett song written specifically for this movie.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
I did not catch that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's one of the only movies that was written specifically for this film was I don't know, in parentheses, Spicoli's theme.
So then we get to one of my favorite fucking bits in the entire film. So we're leaving Jeff on kind of a cliffhanger and we're cutting back to school. And it looks like Ridgemont High is playing a big football game against Lincoln High. But the first inkling we get of this is a girl walking down the hallway with a t-shirt that says "Kill Lincoln."
Yeah, no, it's great because it's not contextualized until you realize that it is like an inter-school rivalry kind of thing through the rest of the signage.
I was wondering why she's just wearing around a shirt. And then we very quickly find out as the car thing plays out.
Yeah, but they lean into it super hard. They're handing out buttons that say "Assassinate Lincoln" on them. It's fucking fantastic.
I want one of those buttons. I'll never wear it out of the house, but I want one.
I feel I feel like there's not enough diehard Fast Times fans. You would just get questions and be like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean?
I do have a fucking painting of Abraham Lincoln on my walls too. It'd be double weird.
But yeah, the Kill Lincoln and Assassinate Lincoln fucking merch really gave me a solid laugh. But this is also very importantly the setup for I'm assuming it was Jeff's idea to get out of being murdered by Charles, and it was to park the fucked up car with essentially a bunch of graffiti on it, sort of claiming the wreck on behalf of Lincoln High, like they trashed a star player's car before the game. And Charles goes fucking feral over this. We get a whole nother montage of Forrest Whitaker just beating the shit out of kids on a football field. I mean, he is just pancaking these guys.
It's specifically the kind of sports material that I really appreciate in movies. It's just seeing dudes get sacked. It's great. It rules.
It requires no context.
No, it's like a game of NFL Blitz, like
Yes.
drop kicking them and shit. It's amazing.
It's shot weirdly well too. Like they do a lot of this bottom fucking panning up shots of him jumping over dudes to knock into other dudes. It rules.
It close ups on just his snarling face. It's a great fun scene. And fucking Ridgemont wins 42-0. It's just an utter stomping. It's amazing. Then we get to see Brad has a new job working at a pirate themed fast food joint with a really ridiculous getup. He has like a silly like a pirate costume printed on a t-shirt. It's like a tuxedo t-shirt, but pirate, right? And just the biggest fucking cartoon pirate hat you've ever seen. And the first scene is like two fucking twins, like grown twins, like arguing about not liking fried food or seafood. So they're just like, we should go somewhere else. And cut to Stacy and Linda hanging out by the pool at Stacy's house. Mike and Rat show up, ostensibly to use the pool, but primarily to hang out with the girls.
Oh, there's like a side plot we haven't mentioned yet, which does kind of play into it later. Linda is dating like a 30-year-old airline pilot, and she's 16.
Well, it's debatable whether or not she actually has a boyfriend named Doug, because she keeps changing the story throughout the movie of who Doug is and what Doug does.
So like it could be like a girlfriend who lives in Canada.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like he goes to a different school, you wouldn't know him type thing. And Linda seems like the type who is just jazzing some stuff up. Although if we do go with that, I gotta give Linda, the character, mad props for the emotional state when she reads the letter at the end of the letter she's intending to send the end. Because if it is fake, she fucking commits to the bit. So respect.
I don't think it's fake, only because of what happens at the very end of the movie, which we'll get to when we get there.
So Mike and Rat are goofing around in the pool. The girls are kind of okay with it, but Brad shows up after his shift at work in his goofy outfit. He's cranky, but he goes inside and starts spying on Linda by the pool from a window, the window in the bathroom, right? And Brad starts masturbating in the bathroom.
Sinner.
And we get I'm so sorry. It's just the best reaction to that description. And Brad, we get a glimpse into Brad's fantasy dream sequence. And also, this is probably the most famous scene in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It's been spoofed dozens and dozens of times in pop culture media, but it's Linda getting out of the pool, taking off her bikini top, and then she starts to make out with Brad.
And it's to the tune of Moving in Stereo by the Cars, which is one of my favorite songs by them.
So in reality, that obviously doesn't happen. Linda dives into the pool, gets out, and says she got water in her ear. And Stacy directs her to go inside and get a Q-tip. So Linda, of course, walks in on Brad masturbating in the bathroom. Brad is just getting a string of L's here all in a row.
But he plays this off like a fucking champion, though. His only reaction is just to laugh and say, God, doesn't anybody knock?
Yeah.
It is pretty good.
He takes it on the chin. I'll give him that. But just...
I don't think he shot that far.
Just an amazing string of L's for my boy here. Not having a great time of it.
You could call it a rope of L's.
Yeah, yes. I knew one of you was gonna bite at that tee up. So way to come through.
I had to.
Yeah, of course. At this point, Stacy seems to start to develop some sort of thing for Mike, which is bad news for Rat. After we get this context, we cut back to U.S. history, and Jeff has ordered a pizza to be delivered to class. And you better believe Mr. Hand is pissed off by this. Mr. Hand gives Jeff's pizza away to everyone else in the class, basically. And as school lets out that day, Stacy chases down Mike. Mike to his credit, his minimal credit here, does try and sway her back towards Rat, saying that Rat really likes her, but still walks her home. And then she invites him to come inside, and then for them to take a dip in the pool. She takes him to the changing room by the pool, ostensibly to borrow some trunks from Brad, and they kiss. And it gets more intimate from there. And Mike reveals himself to be a little too quick across the finish line and suffers the most immediate onset of post-coital regret I think I've seen displayed on the silver screen.
Just the clearest of post-nut clarity.
Yeah. He immediately gets up, gets dressed, and runs out with Stacy still sort of laying naked on the whatever changing bench I guess they have in that room.
Yeah, it's something.
It's something. But so we cut immediately to Stacy and Linda talking the next day about how long guys are supposed to last. And they both go back and forth, sort of lying to each other. Like Linda says, Doug lasts this long. And Stacy's like, I thought you said he lasted this long. And she's like, oh yeah, that's what I meant. How long did Mike last? And Stacy pads his numbers by like fucking 20 minutes.
Yeah, by saying 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So after this point, Mike is sort of avoiding Stacy at school. Brad is still getting the shit kicked out of him at work. He is told he has to take a delivery order over to IBM, and so he goes to get changed so he can drive it over there. And the guy's like, no, you got to go in full costume, my dude. And so he dresses up and is driving along. And when he stops at a red light, and a lady pulls up alongside of him, and he's sort of like smiling and trying to flirt with her, and she seems to be laughing at him. And when she pulls away when the light turns green, that's when Brad realizes that he's wearing a goofy fucking hat still.
And I mentioned it in the first episode, but that is Nancy Wilson from the band Heart, one of the Wilson sisters.
There you go. Deserves a shout out in the moment. And at this point, Brad starts to fucking lose it. He starts eating the food in his delivery order, realizing it's terrible, and throws it out the window, followed shortly thereafter by his hat. And then the rest of the food, he just chucks it. That's one of those instances where that person just never goes back to that job, and good on him. So after school, one of these days, Mike is hitting on another girl in the bleachers outside at like the track or field or whatever at the school. And Stacy comes up to interrupt him and says she really needs to talk to him. It's very important. And then we get the big oof. Stacy tells Mike that she is pregnant and it is his. And Mike does not handle it super great. But
Mike handles it like somebody, like a 37-year-old today would handle it, by essentially saying, are you sure it's mine? And basically calling her a slut.
He's like, I don't even want to do it. You wanted to do it. This is just the most ridiculous thing. But to both of these high school age kids' credit, they both settle on the correct answer, which is we got to abort this. This is what's got to happen. And Stacy actually has everything plotted out relatively well. She knows the cost. She knows where she's going to go. She asks Mike to split it. So, and also to take her to the clinic. So Mike tentatively agrees to this at this point, and then we get a shot of him trying to call in and collect down some of his outstanding debts that are owed to him from other people, from scalping tickets and so on and so forth. He gets kind of stonewalled by the people he's calling. I think the one that we see him call is I think Ron from the fucking stereo store, but I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah, he's a real bad bookie.
He's not even a bookie. He's just giving people floating scalped tickets. That's
well, no. I thought he was a bookie, because isn't there at some point where he tells somebody not to forget about the point spread?
He does,
like, right.
Yes.
That was Arnold. That's my bad.
Yeah, where he's like, no. If you win, I give you 50, and if I win, you give me 5. And the kid's like, okay, and he's like, all right, don't forget about the 14 point spread. And the kid's just like, point spread.
Yeah. But I'm sorry, you're right. He does do bookie shit as well, but the people he's calling for the debts, he specifically references tickets. Okay. So I don't know if he was just leveraging that, like remember when I had your back on this, to try and collect his outstanding bookie debts or if he was trying to collect on the tickets. Either way, it doesn't go well for him. So he can't come up with the cash, and he stands up Stacy for her appointment to the clinic. So Stacy basically gets Brad to give her a ride to the bowling alley near the clinic and runs across the street. And Brad sees her in the rear view as she runs across the street. So she gets the procedure done. And the nurse is like, I can't let you leave without somebody to drive you. And she's like, oh, my boyfriend's going to meet me. And she goes downstairs and outside, and Brad is waiting in the parking lot. Pretty solid big bro move here from Brad.
Brad, by all accounts in this film, pretty good dude.
Not terrible.
Nah, he like gives his friends jobs. He like understands his sister's in trouble and helps her. Like,
really, the most morally reprehensible thing he does is just considering breaking up with his girlfriend. That's like about it. Brad seems like a pretty upstanding dude.
Yeah,
I mean, he also jerks off to his sister's friend. Actually, I got a bit of trivia that we didn't mention during that scene. Apparently, he brought a fucking dildo to set and hid it during that scene. So Phoebe Cates' disgusted look is completely fucking real.
That's pretty funny. You go Judge Reinhold.
I mean, of some of the things that I have heard about actors doing to elicit a reaction, still not the worst. I'm looking at you, Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I was thinking the same fucking thing. That's pretty funny. So yeah, to briefly, because you mentioned morally reprehensible behavior, Linda's got to be the same fucking age as Stacy, we're assuming. So a 15-year-old, not great.
No, I think Stacy is older because in the beginning of the movie with the stereo guy, there's the two girls are talking who aren't Stacy, and they mention that she's too young for him. So I think Stacy's probably a little bit older.
Well, no, Stacy, we know explicitly.
Not Stacy. I'm sorry. Yes, I think Linda is probably a year or two older.
Still,
I think.
neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the Brad's a relatively upstanding guy. Just he gets a little too full of himself in the beginning, and pride followed by fall, that type of shit. So Stacy explains what happened with Mike standing her up and not coming through with the money, and Linda is pissed. And Linda, like a good friend, sets out to destroy Mike's life. Mike leaves his house to see Prick spray painted across his car. He tapes some cardboard over that, goes into school, and Little Prick is markered onto his locker. And this is followed by a confrontation between Mike and Rat in the locker room, and it almost comes to an old school round of fisticuffs, but teacher breaks it up.
Yeah, it was essentially like you're so lucky we're in school right now.
Yeah. Although I will say this is one of my favorite lines from Mike in the whole movie. He's like, I woke up in a great mood. I don't know what the fuck happened. But you know what else?
That gym teacher, he's the judge from Liar Liar. Didn't think it was necessary to shout it out in housekeeping, but in the moment it seemed apropos.
Oh, 100%. But you know what else that teacher could have used to distract these young gentlemen? Goods and services. That might have stopped things dead in their track. Maybe they need a new Amish candle or something. I don't know.
Or a new gambling website.
There you go. That's
where you can gamble away your fucking Litecoin.
Yeah, no. Purple mattress, off-brand earbuds. What are the ones that are always paying for? DraftKings.
yeah, fucking DraftKings. I mean, I use DraftKings. It's dope. But I'm also a gambling addict, so
also this is not
probably
an
not so
endorsement.
dope.
If you want us to push exclusively your gambling shit, DraftKings, pay us some fucking money.
Yeah, until then, use fucking FanDuel.
Soliciting sponsors by just saying that you'll advertise their competitors for free unless they pay you.
I will say to go on PokerStars.com and let you pay us, DraftKings.
All right, so enjoy these ads or fast forward through them.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We have to also do the Patreon so you can give me money so that I can waste on DraftKings.
Yeah, don't fast forward through our ads where we're advertising ourselves, because that's just us trying to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, and that's respectable, unlike the ads you'll hear afterwards. So
give us like Yeah, give us like 20 seconds and then hit the fast forward button, because it's patreon.com/Nic Cage Fight, where you get all of our episodes for free for $3 a month, or you get some other stuff too. We're going to be watching The Wrestler, which I feel like we've been going to watch. That should just be a running joke at this point. We should just watch something else, and every plug is like, we're going to watch The Wrestler, and then just do other movies.
Fucking end up watching Wings of Desire and its sequel instead.
Hell yeah.
I'm kind of over Angelic Realism.
Okay, fine.
No,
we can watch Bad
Do
Lieutenant.
Not Sleep on Far Away So Close. I watched that last night. That movie whips ass. It's about an angel who turns into a human and becomes a fucking alcoholic.
That was just Franz's character in
Oh, no. Like a homeless, raging alcoholic who gets into crime.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Ooh, Crime Angel.
It's fucking good.
Crime Angel.
It's got Willem Dafoe in it. Willem Dafoe's weird and creepy, and it's great.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe is so creepy. One of my favorite anecdotes about Willem Dafoe is they had to use a prosthetic penis.
On Antichrist?
In Antichrist,
Yeah.
because
Too
Willem
distracting,
Dafoe's
too
penis
big.
is too distracting and disturbing.
Too disturbing. No, I want to see what his penis looks like.
Well, you're not going to find the real thing in Antichrist. So
Damn it.
you're going to have to look elsewhere.
All right, everybody, you can start fast forwarding now. All right, stop fast forwarding. We're back.
I hope you enjoyed that ad for Willem Dafoe's penis. I'm assuming that was being advertised. I'm assuming the algorithm is picking up on what Rich said and trying to direct him to where he needs to go for the goods.
Yeah, listen, I always choose the triple ad. This time it's going to be Amish furniture, gambling websites, and Willem Dafoe's penis.
I'm gonna have to listen to that ad block. I want to see what came up. So when we return, we have the kids being taken on a field trip to a hospital, and they tour the hospital, and the tour ends with a visit to the morgue, which is pretty morbid. And Stacy can't quite take it when the teacher pulls like the severed rib cage out of the cadaver. I also don't understand why doctors are just letting a teacher get elbow deep in a corpse. I don't think that's super realistic, but it is a dude who donated his body to science, so maybe there aren't any rules when you do that.
Yeah, and they also kind of play it off as like kids kind of making stuff up, because if I recall, they mentioned that like, oh, he's going to grab the guy's heart and like hold it over his head, which is not far from the truth, but they say it very closely to the rumor that Spicoli pulled a knife on Mr. Hand.
Yeah. It's funny. I got slight vibes from the scaring high school kids out of drunk driving bit where they would take you into a morgue, or like the local Reno 911 spoofed on this multiple times, and it was one of my favorite running bits of theirs. But yeah, you get real those kinds of vibes from it. But as I said, Stacy can't take it, runs out, and Rat follows and comforts her.
Also, real quick, every time we mention this the teacher's name, Mr. Hand, does anybody else also think of the internet video?
Which one?
Mr. Hand, the dude who dies after fucking a horse or getting fucked by a horse.
Oh God, that wasn't what I had been thinking.
Don't look it up. Don't look it up.
The dude one of the dudes that directed Everything Everywhere All at Once actually directed a movie about that thing happening.
What was this movie called?
I'll find out. Give me a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't look up the internet video. It's
illegal.
And
traumatizing.
The name of the movie is The Death of Dick Long.
I was say you've seen Two Girls, One Cup. It is infinitely worse.
And the director was Daniel Scheinert, not Daniel Kwan. They're the two dudes known as Daniels that directed Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I'm hoping wins a fucking Oscar because that movie was great.
Don't expect any justice from the Academy, but I hope so too. So as the students leave the hospital looking mildly traumatized, we're treated to another montage, and this is a montage of students taking finals. It's the end of the school year, and it's the night of the big dance, and Jeff seems kind of pumped to go to the dance, but Mr. Hand shows up at his house, and he seems to be intent on keeping Jeff from going to the dance, to, quote, inconvenience him, like he was inconvenienced by Spicoli being constantly truant and distracting his class. So at the dance, Mike apologizes to Rat, and it seems to work, at least to a certain extent. Jeff, meanwhile, is cutting it up with Mr. Hand regarding history and actually describes an event in U.S. history in his own particular surfer stoner vernacular, but gets most of the high notes correct. And it seems like Spicoli and Mr. Hand come to some sort of mutual understanding, perhaps not respect, but they do shake hands, and Mr. Hand leaves. So Jeff goes to the dance. In the bathroom at the school, Linda is essentially reading a breakup letter with Doug to Stacy, and just gauging her opinion of it. And this is the scene where I was mentioning, if Doug is made up, Linda commits to the bit because she brings some real emotion to the breakup letter reading. But after she goes through the whole bit, she is like, I have another version where I call him an asshole a whole bunch of times.
Yeah, then she says, like, yeah, send him this one.
Jeff gets on stage with the live band to sing a song, and I don't know off the top of my head what song it was. I'm sure Ryan will jump in with that information potentially, because
it's Wooly Bully by Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs.
There you go. I was incredibly distracted because there is a scene that explicitly focuses on Jeff Spicoli's shoes, and those shoes are classic checkered pattern Vans slip-ons. Shit don't change. This is a 1982 film. The popularity of that shoe has not changed at all.
Okay, so apparently the popularity is from this movie. This movie is the reason why those became popular.
It became fine. Maybe that's why they became popular. But that popularity hit a peak and stuck on a plateau through two economic crises, through 9/11, several wars. Those shoes have become a staple at this point.
Yeah, the rising popularity of them is actually considered tantamount to like how big Reese's Pieces got after E.T.
Oh, shit.
A second checkered shoe has crashed into the World Trade Center.
It's considered one of the few times when there was a product placement, intended or otherwise, that actually positively affected sales for that product.
Just wildly successful. Yeah, man, shit don't change. It was fantastic. I saw those and I was like, everybody I know has a pair of those. There's at least a pair in my house right now.
I'm now just thinking, like, why would 9/11 affect his shoe sale?
No, I'm just saying the popularity held through national tragedies. Okay, people tend to move on, tastes change, but not when it comes to classic checkered pattern slip-on Vans. The needle has not moved on the popularity on that at all since 1982. Now we're back at the restaurant that Stacy worked at, and she is telling Linda she realizes that she doesn't just want sex. Anybody can get that. She wants romance, which good for her for figuring this out, because she has been going so hard throughout the entire course of this movie and has led her to some not great places. Glad she landed in a relatively healthy headspace in regards to this. Stacy,
but we are not slut shaming. Let's be clear.
No, not at all. I am suggesting that 15-year-olds putting themselves in dangerous situations with older men in an effort to explore their sexuality is probably not the best thing, nor the best way to approach a relationship with your burgeoning sexuality. It's just not safe. But no shaming intended. This is just a good landing point for her arc. So Stacy actually waves at Rat, who's closing up the theater, and waves him over. And she gives Rat a picture of her. I'm assuming it's like her yearbook headshot.
Oh, no, it's a nudie picture.
No,
it's definitely a nudie picture.
That's edited out of my fucking version.
You might have watched the TV cut. There were two different cuts of this movie because of both TV recuts and a lot of copyright shit to do with the soundtrack. Because a lot of the the original VHS release of this did not have most of the songs that were in the theatrical release. So that there are some weird changes between the two of them. Or three different versions, actually.
Really?
Yep.
I also
you don't see the nudity on the the thing, but it is very clearly implied that it is a nudie picture because it's like you can kind of see the naked shoulder, and then his hand is covering the rest of the picture in the version that I watched.
Really? I mean, like, she looks good in the picture, but it's just like a yearbook headshot. God, this is Zandali all
It's
over
Zandali
again.
all over
I'm not
again.
I'm
Yeah,
not looking.
There's
There's another cut
Josh here.
fucking scene where Linda tells the radio salesman dude that Stacy's in fucking high school, and that's why he ghosts her in one of the versions, which wasn't in the one that I watched, but I read up on it on the version differences.
I prefer that being left vague because my read is that he fucking knew he was getting lied to in the first place, and this is just a thing that he does.
Yeah, no, that makes more sense. I think that's a more narratively cogent explanation for that. But yeah, no, there's like 3 different versions of this because of TV cuts, because again, the copyright shit, and when it went to VHS. I mean, the VHS stuff is kind of funny because like one of the running gags of movie stores in general is that if you have a copy of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, the pool scene always flickers a little bit because of jerk offs fucking pausing it there.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Regardless of what picture is handed over in the version that you've seen, Stacy tells Rat to call her over the summer and leans over to give him a kiss before going back to work. And at this point, we cut to Brad, now new job working at a convenience store. Jeff comes in super high, buys something, and then goes to work in the bathroom. Or goes to use the bathroom.
He's going to work in there.
Almost immediately after Jeff steps back to use the bathroom, a guy comes in to rob the place, sticks a gun in Brad's face, tells him to open the safe. Brad's like, I just started working here. Hold on. Give me a second to remember how to do this. And it gets real tense before Jeff comes out of the bathroom and is like, what's going on? And this distracts the robber long enough for Brad to throw some piping hot coffee directly at the robber, hop over the counter, and take the guy's gun.
Awesome. Totally awesome.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And after this occurs, we get sort of like pre-credit rolls where we get some information on what is happening to all the characters after the events of the movie. Brad was made manager of the convenience store. Good for him. Mike got busted scalping Ozzy Osbourne tickets and now works at a 7-Eleven. Mr. Vargas, which was the teacher who took the kids to the hospital, gave up Sanka and switched back to coffee. Also, his ending scene is him preparing a whole chicken for food, and he is handling it in a very comedic fashion. I don't know how else to fucking describe it.
His physical acting, like, we don't talk a lot about him in this podcast, but like his physical acting was very, very funny.
He's definitely the coolest fucking adult in the movie.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Linda went to college and is now living with one of her professors.
You see, so this is why I think that the story was real, because she clearly has like a habit of seeing older men. So that's why I think that the whole airline pilot thing was real.
It's not just any professor, it's the abnormal psych professor.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot to include that in my notes. That really does put a bow on the whole thing. Also, Rich, this does support your idea that Linda is older than Stacy in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does track.
Because for Rat and Stacy, we're informed that they're in a relationship, but they haven't gone all the way yet. Mr. Hand is convinced everyone is on dope, which I thought was a funny end credit for him.
Dope being marijuana. I know dope nowadays means something else. So
yeah, just to be very clear, he thinks everybody's getting high, smoking weed. Jeff, as Ryan alluded to at the start of this episode, saved Brooke Shields from drowning, but blew all of his reward money hiring Van Halen to play his birthday party. Way to go, Jeff. And then we get a montage of the mall closing for business. It's actually pretty much the perfect scene to end the film on, because we opened on the mall in full swing doing business. And now we get to see, the teenagers closing up shops and the mall shutting down for the evening. And
Gotta love the mall. Food, fun, and fashion. The mall has it all. For a weekend or a week, there's no place like the mall.
it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I understand why it's a classic. I think it cemented its place as a classic for all the nudity and its targeted teenage audience. But overall, it is, like I said, weirdly a period piece. It is a slice of 80s Americana preserved in amber. And when you look close, you realize it's just a blood-sucking insect, but still it's interesting. It's interesting to see it so carefully preserved. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. Not enough Nic Cage. Oh, I forgot to mention in the closing scene where the convenience store is shutting down for the evening, we see some silhouettes of Brad's friends, I'm assuming, meeting up with him after work. And I'm pretty sure one of those silhouettes is Nicolas Cage, but I cannot prove it. So watch it and, form your own opinions on it. I'm not here to tell you how to think.
Yeah, that was Fast Times at Ridgemont High. A movie that we thought was going to be worse. That is not bad.
Yeah,
worth a watch. Worth a watch.
Better than Valley Girl.
Definitely better than Valley Girl. Definitely a mid-tier movie overall on this list. It's just to compare it to something else that Nic Cage wasn't in all that much of. Definitely not as good as Rumblefish.
Yeah, Rumblefish is excellent. This is merely a pretty good summer teen comedy joint.
Yeah, apparently Nic Cage got bullied mercilessly on set too.
Did he really?
Was it for his jacked up teeth?
No, it was just because he was a Coppola.
Oh,
it was a real dumb version.
Still, that's fair, man. Nobody likes a nepo baby. Earn your own
apparently
stripes.
that's why he changed his name, so he could essentially that. He didn't want to be looked at. He didn't want the nepotism of having a famous last name, which is why he changed his name from Coppola to Cage.
Good for him. Set the stage for people like Joe Hill to write a bunch of relatively solid horror novels, not letting on that he was Stephen King's kid.
And one really good fucking comic series.
Which one?
Lock and Key. Lock and Key whips ass.
Oh shit! Didn't they make that into a Netflix show?
They did. It's not as weird as the comic, so it's not as good.
Okay, I couldn't. I never the show never caught me. I didn't know it was a Joe Hill thing. I'll have to check out the comic.
Yeah, I got the box set if you want to borrow it.
Fuck yeah. I love weird comics. That's kind of my niche right now, is reading the weird shit. Finish a whole fucking story and let me read it in an omnibus, and I'm about it. But yeah, like I said, with a couple of minor elements where it's either a commentary on teenagers in general or it didn't age particularly well. It's still a good film. I think it holds up relatively well. It definitely holds up better than I thought it would. I thought it was going to feel really antiquated, but teenagers seem to stay relatively consistent throughout the times.
It had almost no racism, which is a problem I find with a lot of 80s comedies, that you always have some like anti-Asian or anti-black racism in them, that just casually.
Yeah.
This didn't really have any that jumped out at me, which is always kind of a plus.
Yeah, that's solid. I didn't notice any of that either. And you're right, that usually has, some stage time in the older films. But no, this largely was all right. It hit a couple of darker areas, but I think those elements remain consistent with the whole concept of, kids having a coming of age experience. No, I thought it was pretty spot on, and it had a lot of nice, funny moments in it. Yeah.
I was gonna say that, most movies, I don't think a lot, most movies don't go out of their way to try to be like racist, sexist, whatever, without like proving a point. So except for like today with the Daily Wire, like doing fucking movies now.
Oh, geez.
So, it is one of those things where, when you watch a movie, I do try to keep it as to like, the time frame, like, when you watch like Blazing Saddles, let's say, you try to remember
Blazing
that
Saddle is specifically lampooning racism. What I'm thinking of is like 16 Candles, where you have a Asian dude playing a caricature of an Asian fucking exchange student in Long Duck Dong. That is just straight up racist against Chinese people.
Yeah.
No, this movie avoided that. It was an entertaining film. Tight 90 minutes. I like that. And like I said, despite approaching everything with a comedic tone, it hit on some very real things that are still, real and an element of this sort of life experience today. So I think it stands up, and definitely I had a way better time watching this than I did City of Angels. So this was
absolutely yes.
Yeah, I didn't think I was
breath
gonna
of
have this
fresh
good of a
air.
time.
yeah, I didn't know if I was going to enjoy it as much as I did, but I really enjoyed this in comparison. The number of times I just did a frustrated sigh watching City of Angels, I didn't have any of that with this.
No, there were no like skippable moments or anything. Because like that's how I tend to. It is if I get kind of too cringe during a scene, I will hit that skip 10 seconds button. Didn't really get any of that in this movie.
Yeah, no, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I think it, like I said, stands up. It at least it most certainly defended its classic status to me. At this point, I understand why this is such a pivotal film, and why it's been, like I said, so widely referenced in pop culture and shit like that. I think it's still got a couple of years of doing that pretty solidly. So there you go. Certainly decent. I enjoyed it, but I am kind of curious as to what's next. Where do we go from Fast Times?
Thought you were never going to ask because I already have the movie. It's a movie I can almost guarantee. Well, I know that you haven't seen because we've actually talked about this movie before. I'd like to guarantee that Ryan has never seen it, but you never fucking know.
Yeah, what do you got for me?
We're going to watch Sunny.
I think I've heard of that. I don't think I've seen it, though.
It is the one movie that Nic Cage directed, and it stars James Franco.
Oh, a sex pervert movie.
It's a sex pervert movie, and I believe he plays a sex pervert.
His character name is Acid Yellow, so I'm already strapped in.
Ooh, we got a Twin Peaks Illuminati. We got Harry Dean Stanton from Repo Man's going to be in this one. That's cool. I like Harry Dean Stanton.
He was also in Alpha Dog, which is one of my favorite films.
Also, Lucky, Paris, Texas. Dude rules.
I'm still trying to get the cast list.
This looks interesting. We have
we got a repeat cast member. We got Scott Conn, who was in
showing up again.
Gone in 60 Seconds.
And apparently this movie is awful. So ooh, did you see the box office?
We'll be the judge of that.
I didn't. What's the box office on it?
The budget was $4 million. The box office was a hair over $100,000.
Yeah, let me tell you, I'm excited for the fact that housekeeping for the director is going to be super simple, because it's going to be director Nic Cage, and the only thing he's directed is this movie.
but also a kind of a strange side, because I actually really liked this movie. Tommy Wiseau saw this, and due to James Franco's abilities in this movie, it gave him like the okay to be like, okay, you can play me in The Disaster Artist.
That's pretty crazy.
And I liked The Disaster Artist, even though James Franco is a sex pervert.
Yeah. Ooh, writer. The writer that did this wrote Sunny, and then everything else is TV series or TV movie writing credits.
Ooh. Was that before or after Sunny?
But all before. Sunny is the last thing they did.
This movie killed this man's career? Oh,
it absolutely might have. Actually, I'm sorry. The writer died 7 years after this film.
But still, he didn't work for 7 years after this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a whole lot here. I've never heard of any of these TV movies.
No. Let's save it for housekeeping for the other one. I'll do my best. I might even actually look at some synopses from these other TV films, because none of them are recognizable to me personally. So
no,
we'll check it out. We'll get into it.
Okay, hold up. No, this man's life is interesting. The writer, he apparently started in the film industry as an advisor, teaching Dustin Hoffman and Harry Dean Stanton to portray bank robbers, because that's something he did previously.
My man robbed banks before writing TV movies, and also big screen movie Sunny.
We're
Yes,
gonna have to look up this guy.
he did prison time as a male hustler and bank robber.
Wait, what's a male hustler?
I'm assuming
know,
a gigolo.
It's a gigolo.
Oh, okay.
Because
so
this movie is also about a gigolo, so
Yeah.
he's right in what he knows.
Yeah, clearly.
He was born in a fucking whorehouse run by his great grandmother.
Good.
What is
Lord.
this man's life?
Oh,
This
rest
sounds
easy now.
amazing.
Rest easy now, John Carlin.
No,
The
you know what?
journey is done.
I want to see this movie now because it can't be that bad if the writer has done all of this.
I was gonna say the CV might seem a little bit lackluster, but this is apparently direct. This might be the only man who could write this movie.
I'm fascinated.
His-
I'm going to see if I can find any more information about his life for the next recording session.
His screenplay for Sonny, directed by Nic Cage, was loosely based on his own life.
There you go.
Well, there we go.
So it's a John Carlin biopic.
Oh my god.
Save it.
This is amazing.
Take the notes. When I do the detailed stuff, you can pepper in all of this really interesting stuff about this man's clearly colorful past.
I don't care. This movie's going to be good.
I'm
It's going to be
excited.
good. I'm willing it to be good.
We always will it to be good. We have to watch it regardless. It's better for us if it's good.
You know what? Critics shit on Kill Chain, which is like a top 5 Cage
well,
movie.
the critics are fucking stupid
Because
because Kill Chain
critics
is a
said
good fucking
G-Force
film.
was okay. That movie haunts me, too, by the way. I've been at Goodwill 3 times in the past month. I've seen a different copy of G-Force every time I've been there.
Wait, you haven't picked them up?
I was really close to picking up the special edition Blu-ray when I was there like 2 days ago. But I was not going to spend $4 on that movie. I'll wait till that color tag goes half off.
All right, I'm sorry to tell you this, Ryan, but a new bit is every time I'm in public at a place that sells movies, I'm gonna look for G-Force, and if they have a copy, I'm buying it for you. You're gonna have 25 copies of this film.
And like one of the things I want, so since this is an audio format, not a visual one, Ryan, when you are like looking at him through the camera, his background is a bookcase with like all of his comic books. And there's a shelf just right to his right that's just full of comics. I want that to be nothing but G-Forces.
Yeah,
Oh no!
I'm gonna get you an absurd amount of copies. So many, knowing your integrity as a person who enjoys movies, I'm gonna give you so many copies you don't have enough enemies to re-gift all of the copies I give you.
I'm gonna dig a fucking like an
ET hole.
It's gonna.
ET
I was gonna
Atari
say
game
an
hole.
ET hole. Yep.
That's okay,
Oh,
because
no.
20 years from now, when somebody digs it up, like they're gonna call the cops. They're gonna be like, I don't know what the crime was, but clearly one was committed here. All right, that covers it for Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Join us next time for Sunny and just the most bonkers life story of a writer you'll ever fucking hear, apparently. In the meantime, check us out on social media. You can find us on Twitter at cagefight_pod. I hear a lot of talk about a Patreon we have. What's that one again?
It's patreon.com/Nic Cage Fight. $3 a month gets you every episode without those pesky ads, as
There you
well
go.
as
Avoid more ads
additional things
for Willem Dafoe's penis. And if you join up in enough numbers, Ryan and I have committed to some level of psychological torture for your amusement, riches, punishment, and penance to be forthcoming. We just haven't figured out really quite how to crack that cold, blackened heart of his, but we'll get it.
I don't know it either, so
we'll figure it out.
We'll turn the screws. We'll find
there's
the
like
specific pain point.
There's like a 40% chance that whatever they give me, I'm gonna be like, I did it. It was actually pretty fun.
And then we'll have to up the stakes for the next one. We'll get there. We'll get there. We're all going to the fucking loony bin together. I promise you that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So thanks for listening, and as always, we appreciate you.
Oh, bye-bye.